Hi friends, this is Selvijay here. Welcome to my networking channel. Hope all are doing good and safe. And today let us discuss about the BGP MED attributes. MED is exchange between the different autonomous system. So MED indicates to an external BGP neighbor the best inbound path into an AS. So MED is used to influence the inbound path and always the lowest metric is preferred and the default metric value is 0. So here I connected three routers R1, R2 and R3. R1 has established an IBGP neighbor relationship with R2 and EBGP neighbor relationship with R3 since both R1 and R3 are in a different autonomous system number. Similarly, R2 has established an IBGP neighbor relationship with R1 and a EBGP neighbor relationship with R3. So first thing I'm going to show how to configure the BGP neighbor relationship on all this router, and next thing I'm going to advertise the prefix for the individual router, and the third thing I'm going to configure the BGP MED attribute. So now let us go to the configuration, R1 configuration, go to configuration mode, router BGP1, right? So let us configure the prefix first. So go to this router and it has an IBGP neighbor and an EBGP neighbor 12.2 and 13.2, right? So let us configure that. Neighbor is 192.168.12.2 as a autonomous system number 1 because since it is an IBGP neighbor, this is a 13.2 and the remote autonomous system number is 2. You are understanding, right? 13 dot, that is a EBGP neighbor. Similarly, go to R2 and configure the BGP neighbor relationship. So go to the configuration mode, router BGP1, and the neighbor relationship is 192.168.12.1 and the remote AS is 1. So since it is an IBGP and a EBGP neighbor, it is an IBGP neighbor and a EBGP neighbor. 12.1 as an IBGP neighbor and 23.2 as an EBGP neighbor, right? So 23.2 as an EBGP neighbor. I hope you are following this. So 23.2 as an EBGP neighbor. Similarly, R3 has two EBGP neighbor. So R3 has two EBGP neighbor. One is 23.1 and 13.1, right? So go to the configuration mode and enable router BGP2 and the neighbor statement is 192.168.13.1 and 23.1. So 13.1 and the remote autonomous number is 1. Similarly 23.1, it has two EBGP neighbor, right? 23.1. So we have configured the BGP neighbor relationship. So now let us see the individual neighbor. So we are able to see both the neighbors are up, both IBGP and the EBGP neighbor is up. So we can view the configuration, show IP BGP all summary. So we are able to see the neighbor relationship and the version is version 4 and the autonomous system number and the up down timer, how long the neighbor is up, and we are able to see the values. If the neighbor is not up, it will show here it is idle or active. So always you have to see it should receive some values, right? Similarly, go to R2 and check the neighbor relationship. So it has two neighbors, one is IBGP neighbor and a EBG neighbor, both are up. So let us go to R3. R3 has three neighbors, right? Show BGP all summary. Yeah, so it has two EBG neighbor, both are up and both are receiving the prefixes and it is showing the up down time value, right? How long the neighbor is up. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure the prefixes. Go to the configuration mode. Next thing I'm going to advertise the prefixes. So each and every router I have going to advertise the loopback address as a prefix. So 1.1, here is 2.2 and this is a 3.3, right? So go to the configuration mode, router BGP1 and the network prefix is 1.1.1.0 and the mask is 255.255.255.0. Similarly, it does go to R2 and going to advertise the prefix. The prefix is router BGP1, right? Network is 2.2.2.0 and the mask is 255.255.255.0. So R2 is done. Similarly, go to R3 and let us advertise the prefix router BGP2, right? It is an autonomous system number is 2 and let us advertise the prefix 3.3.3.0 and the mask is 255.255.255.0. So I advertise the prefixes and all the things. So first we have established the BGP neighbor relationship and next thing I advertise the prefix. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to configure the MED attribute value. Before that, let us check the routing table. So go to R3 and check the routing table. How to check? Show IP BGP. So it will show the prefixes advertised, right? You are able to see. So it is a 3.3. network, 1.1 prefix. It is reaching via the next hop interface 13.1. So it is taking this as a preferred path, and for reaching 2.2 it is taking 13.1 as a preferred path, right? So this is the preferred path it is taking. So what I'm going to do now, this path I may going to make it as a higher MED value. So MED always used to prefer the inbound path. So this path I may going to make it as a higher value. So what happen, R3 for reaching this 2.2 prefix or 1.1 prefix, it is going to take this 23.1 as the next stop interface. So how to change the preferred path is, go to the R1 configuration. I'm going to change the route map statement. So go to R1 and let us configure the BGP neighbor. Router BGP neighbor is, yeah, neighbor is 13.2. So this value I'm going to change the route map statement. So let us go here and let us change the route map. And the route map is MED out. So why out? It is always MED is exchange between two EBGP neighbors, right? And now let us configure the individual route map statement. So route map MED permit and the statement is 10. Let us set the metric as 500. Any value you can set. I'm going to set the higher value. Always the default metric is 0. So always that is preferred. So I'm going to make this path as a less preferred path. Right? This path I'm going to make this a less preferred path. So already done the changes. So now I'm going to see from this router. Y means we want to influence the inbound path, right? So it is best thing we have to check from this router R3. So go here R3 and check the show IP BGP. So still it is not reflecting the changes. So you have to see the value, right? 500. So what we can do, there is a separate command, clear IP BGP. So this is a command I'm going to set. So what it does, it will do a soft reset. Soft reset nothing but it will not break the BGP neighbor relationship. It will insert, it will request a separate update from the neighbor, right? So 23, I already made the changes. So it will request for an update 23.1 and 13.1. So I already done the soft reset. So now let us see the show IP BGP. See, now we are able to see the changes. So what happened? This path, it will make it as a less preferred path because of the highest MED value. I already shown, right? So because of the highest value, this will not take the preferred path. So instead R3 for reaching 2.2 network or 1.1 network, it will take 23.1 as a next stop interface. So that is the preferred path. So 1.1 it is taking 23.1 because the default metric is 0. So always the lowest inbound path is preferred 23.1, and 2.2, right, it is taking 23.1 as a preferred inbound path because of the lowest MED value. This I make it as a 500. So always prefer the best inbound path to reach AS. So for R3 for reaching this network 2.2 network or 1.1 network, it is taking 192.168.23.1 as a preferred path for reaching into an autonomous system, right? So that is the purpose of MED. MED is exchange between the EBGP neighbors and it indicates to an external neighbor the best inbound path into an AS. So here I make this path as a preferred inbound path because of the lowest MED value. This is how the MED work. I hope you understood and thanks for watching. Please subscribe me for more videos. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.